There. Welcome to the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences Open House. My name is Dr. Lori White, and I'm the undergraduate program director for the biochemistry major. And today what I'm going to do is go over some of the characteristics of our major, some of the things we expect students to learn in our major, and the basic format of the major. And usually what I say is we have some questions and answers at the end, but obviously we won't be doing that today. So what we will be doing is giving you some contact information so you can contact me if you'd like to ask me questions. And again, and also if you'd like to talk to an undergraduate who's in the major, I can also set you up to talk to somebody in the major. So again, this is for the biochemistry major here at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences at Rutgers. My name is Dr. Lori A. White, and I am the program director, which means I run the program for the biochemistry major. So usually when I have an audience, the first thing I do is I ask, well, why does everybody here want to be a biochemistry major? And usually at this point, we play like a little bit of a family feud game. Some students will chime up, sometimes their parents will chime up. So why do you want to be a biochemistry major? One of the first things that comes up is they want to go to medical school. This is by and large one of the most common responses, I would say, is that many people have the idea that the biochemistry major is the best major to be in if you want to go to medical school. So this is what I always tell people when this comes up. The biochemistry major is an excellent major to be if you want to go to medical school. So is a bio major, so maybe a genetics major. The reality is biochemistry major is a very difficult major. It's very challenging, and medical schools know that. And so they do give you a little bit of a lift getting into medical school. But that being said, be aware that medical school is a game of numbers. Your goal is to get the best GPA you can. And so biochemistry may or may not be the right major for you. But if you do the biochemistry major, it will look really good on your transcript. Plus, it will give you a really good solid foundation for going into medical school. I've actually had students come back who've gotten into medical school telling us that the classes they took as a biochemistry major at Rutgers actually helped them do super well their first year in medical school because their foundation of biochemistry was that strong. So it has a couple advantages. The second thing that people like to do is they say, I want to go to graduate school. And I always say this is a little bit more common here at Rutgers than it is to hear if I was, say, in the Midwest, because here at Rutgers, we are in the middle of pharmaceutical, so many industry companies that use graduate level researchers. And so a lot of people, their aunts, their parents, their school friends, parents work in some of these industries, and they know they need either a master's or a PhD to get the job they want. So a lot of students come in already knowing that they want to go to graduate school. Again, this is an excellent major if you want to go and get an upper level degree to either go into academia or to go into some industry in New Jersey. The other is you want to work in the pharmaceutical or other industries in New Jersey. And again, there are many of them. There's the pharmaceuticals, but there's fragrances, cosmetics, and personal care products. A lot of companies in New Jersey that hire biochemistry majors with an undergraduate degree. So there are a lot of opportunities for students with a biochemistry degree in New Jersey. Sometimes students just say, well, I wanted a challenging biological science related major. They just didn't want to do biology. This also fills that bill. If you want to do, if you're interested in biology, but you want to know a little bit more about the chemistry related to it, biochemistry is a great major for you. Really like biology and chemistry, couldn't decided to stick them together. So that usually gets a few chuckles. But it is kind of true. Sometimes students decide to do it because they are interested in both of these aspects and they want it in one major. And the last one that I always put in here is, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Usually I hear that from my older students. But by and large, these are the general reasons why people want to be a biochemistry majors at SEBS. And all of these things are true. It does really prepare you to go into medical school. It does prepare you to go to grad school. It prepares you to work in the pharmaceutical industry. And it is a challenging biological sciences related major. It also does fulfill the needs of people who like both biology and chemistry. But I always tell people to keep in mind that the chemistry aspect is in the ascendancy here, meaning it's heavier in chemistry. So if you're not really liking chemistry, this may not be the major for you. So our goal for all students in our major, by the time they graduate, we expect that they will be able to understand biochemistry and how it relates to other scientific disciplines. We also want them to be skilled in verbal and written science communication. And we want them to be prepared to work in industry or to continue their education in graduate or medical school. Now, the second one seems like a little bit far out, but the reality is science is a collaborative and interactive process that really requires good communication. And students really need to learn how to speak in scientific terminology, to write scientific papers, and do this in an effective way that will make them successful as they go on in their careers. So we really take this seriously. So a couple years ago, well, more than a couple now, maybe about 5, we actually decided to update the biochemistry major. And we did a few things to help meet these goals a little bit more effectively. First was we updated our major to provide students with more opportunities to apply their knowledge in biochemistry. And what this means is we wanted students to be able to get more experience-based education. Now, you may have heard of this from other people or other majors or even from the dean's level, but one of the things that we really pride ourselves on at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences is that students learn how to apply what they know. We don't want people just having a lot of knowledge. We want them to know how to use it. And so we require our majors to do at least 6 credits of what we call experience-based education. And I always tell students this multiple times during the time, when I'm advising them, is experience-based education is good for a variety of things. First, it tells you what you want. It tells you if you're going to like what you think you're going to like. And that sounds kind of silly, but you certainly don't want to go to, say, become a doctor and find out that you really hate being a doctor. You don't want to go into research and find that you find the pace a little slow or you find it a little frustrating. You also sometimes find that you really like something that you didn't know you liked. I've had students do research who thought they were going to medical school that then changed their mind and decide to do research. The other thing is when students are doing research, they often do better in their classes because they're around people that are doing this, and they sometimes having that hands-on helps them understand the concepts that are being taught in their classes a little bit better. And the third, and this is a little bit selfish, but the reality is right now you've just applied to college and you're admitted and you're making your decisions. One of the things you had to get were letters of recommendation. These become even more serious and more important when you get to the point of applying for, say, medical school or graduate school or a job. And you want to have really good letters of recommendation. And the place you get your really good letters of recommendations are the people you do your experience-based education with, because those are the people that know you and know how you work and can write you that really, really excellent letter that might make the difference between you getting into a program or not getting into a program. So I always tell people, don't wait for this. This is something you can start really early, and you can do more than 6 credits if you want, but you have to, at least for our major, do a minimum of 6. We also now have an entry-level sophomore course for students when they first declare their major. And this helps them meet the professors in the department. It kind of gives them a smaller class feel when in the first couple of years you're spending a lot of time in your bigger classes. We also updated our senior course that focuses on encouraging students to practice their oral and written skills and also learn to integrate everything they've learned from their biochemistry classes. So this is a place where they learn to read papers and to understand them and to take that information and present it to other students in an effective way. I already talked about the experience, increased emphasis on experience-based education. The other thing that we've done that isn't on the slide that I should note is that we also have what we call our tracks. We have currently 4 tracks in biochemistry. We have general track, which is just, and it's just the general biochemistry major. We also have a biochemical toxicology class, which focuses on toxicology, which is how chemicals can cause problems. We also have a microbial biochemistry class, which focuses on the biochemistry of microbes. And we have a plant biochemistry class, which dovetails really nice with the plant science program here at Rutgers. We also have a proteins and enzymes structural biochemistry track, and we are developing a bioinformatics track, which is using big data to answer questions in biochemistry. We'll talk a little bit more of that in a bit. So this is the fall schedule, and I show this to you because this is the fall schedule that most biochemistry, first year schedule that most biochemistry students take. This is also the first year schedule that most biology students make, and most genetics majors take, and most animal science majors take, and biotech majors. Did I already say biotech? So this is my point. The point is that when you're coming in, you don't have to have a solid idea of which of these myriad of majors you want to take at this point. They're somewhat similar. The first year, especially the classes you're going to be taking for these majors, are going to be the same. And so right now, if you come in, you say you want to be a biochemistry major, but maybe halfway through your first year, you decide you want to be genetics, or you want to be biotech, or some such thing, or animal science, you want to be a vet. This is not going to put you behind at all. So it's good to know that, just so that you don't have to feel like the decision you're making right now is going to change the rest of your undergraduate career. One of the things that we have is we have a newly renovated teaching laboratory. And this laboratory was renovated about like 7 years ago. We've got some new equipment. We refurbished some old equipment. And this is allowing our students to be able to use some of the newer technologies that are available. Students in this lab will use real-time PCR, which is a technology that's often used with a lot of companies in doing research. We also have ways to spectrophotometers, and also high-end HPLCs for students to learn how to use those techniques in a teaching lab environment, so that they can learn how to do these before they go into, say, the real world, and you put quotations around that, and they have to know how to use these techniques. We also have a 3D modeling computer cluster, and I'd like to apologize to Dr. Khan, who runs this cluster, is that this is a really old picture. These computers have been updated, and they no longer have these old CRT screens. But the great thing about this isn't so much the computer cluster, which is nice, but this allows the students as undergraduates to get really hands-on on 3D modeling of proteins. And this is a really big thing, because a lot of majors we all learn about molecular biology, we all learn about DNA, RNA, but structure is really important. Structure really determines how proteins function. It determines how drugs interact with proteins, and being able to 3D model these as an undergraduate gives you a different perspective on drug development and design, and on basically how proteins work. And this is integrated into our first semester of our biochemistry core, and you guys will have a chance to be able to use this program and ask these sorts of questions. As I talked about experience-based education, I'd like to just kind of come back to that there's a lot of research opportunities. And I left this blank. I'll put some pictures up in a minute, because I want to start off by saying is that biochemistry is part of a lot of different disciplines. So we allow our students to do their research wherever they want to, whatever appeals to them. Some of our students do their research in the medical school. Some of the students do their research over on the other campus. Some students do their research in nutrition or animal science. It really doesn't matter as long as it's biochemistry related. But just to give you an idea, just in our department, we have somebody that works on green fluorescent protein, and this may be familiar to some of you because it's the thing that makes things glow green. This is getting old now, but in The Big Bang Theory, there was actually an episode where Sheldon made a mouse that glowed in the dark, and it was glowing with GFP, which I found very amusing. We also have people that do field biochemistry that go out into the fields of New Jersey and look at how chemicals are affecting the environment. And this is a picture of a grad student and a professor out collecting samples. So you do get outside sometimes in some of the prettier parts of New Jersey. We also have some organic chemistry labs where people are synthesizing new compounds. I myself am a developmental toxicologist, and I use the zebrafish shown here to answer questions about how chemicals impact development. And we also have people that do cell culture work shown here. These are some melanocytes, and this is the picture shows some students that are doing sterile cell culture. And so this is just a small part of the kinds of research that's just available on in our department. And as I said, you can also, if you're interested in cancer research, there's plenty of really fantastic cancer researchers that our students work with. If you're interested in pharmacology, there's some fantastic people over in the pharmacology department that our students work with. This is not, you're limitless. This gives you, the great thing about going to a school like Rutgers is there's just a lot of opportunities for hands-on research, and you really should take advantage of it when you're here. But the great thing about going to a big school like Rutgers is there's a lot of opportunities, but sometimes people get overwhelmed. The great thing about going to SEBS, or the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, is that we are sort of like a small school in a big setting. And this means that we really get to know our students, and we get to have some like more personal interactions with them. It makes a smaller, maybe more comfortable environment for a lot of students. And these are just some things that we do, that we've done in the past. So I think I have a pointer. So up in the one corner shows a bunch of us that when we ran the big chill. Some of you who live in this area may be familiar with this. This is a run that's done in the beginning of December usually, and we collect toys for underprivileged children. And you basically, people run this 5K, and that was our group one year we went. We try to get a lot of people from the department to do it. And it's a lot of fun. Some people walk, some people run, but it's a lot of fun, and it's for a good cause. We also have something called Ag Field Day, or it's now called Rutgers Day, where we set up programs for people in the community to come by, kids come by, and some of the pictures show this. The one student at the bottom holding the that was a make a microbe. So the kids were coming and making microbes, and we talked to them about science and microbiology and biochemistry. The other picture shows a group of students, and that was when we were in Brazil. We have a program where students can go to Brazil to present their science in their junior and senior year, and that was the year that I went as a chaperone with them. Really great program. And then we also do things like shown in the bottom pictures. I personally do a cookie decorating during finals week. So students can I sometimes call it sugar for finals, where students can come while they're in their finals, when they're preparing, make some cookies, chat a little bit, have some fun, walk away with a little bit of sugar, just kind of a bit of a relaxing sort of opportunity during their stressful final weeks. So we do try to help our students, support our students, and kind of give them some distractions to get them through their semesters. So since I'm not there talking to you right now, which I really wish I was, I'm going to put up this contact sheet for you. And I'm going to tell you what I tell all the students. Here's my email. Please do not feel bad to remind me if I don't get back to you. So this is a good thing to learn in general. When you email a professor, sometimes you catch them at a time when they're getting lots of emails. And as we all know, once an email gets down off the screen, we kind of forget about it. Sometimes we can't even find it. So if you email me and I don't get back to you right away, please do not feel bad to remind me and email me again. And when you email me again, please feel perfectly comfortable writing, Dr. White, I emailed you last week concerning blah, 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 blah. I will not think that's bad. It will just remind me that somebody has emailed me before and I forgot to get back to them. And it will make me be a little bit more diligent to make sure I get back to you right away. And that's actually good to do in general. There's some additional information at the website for our major right there. And we are currently updating it, so it might be changing. But feel free to call, as I said, to email me, because phones won't be useful right now, to email me if you have any questions. And as I said earlier, if you want to talk to an undergrad who's in the major, I'm sure I could find one of our current undergrads who would be really happy to talk to you about the major and their personal experience, because that sometimes helps people a lot when they're trying to make decisions. Right now, I'd like just to end with this one idea, and that is the things that I really want you guys to get out of our major. First is a really solid foundation in biochemistry. And this is to ensure that our students, when they graduate, can go to medical school, can go to graduate school. They can get a job in the pharmaceutical or fragrance or cosmetic industries that are in New Jersey. I also want our students to come out understanding how to be a scientist. And what this means is knowing how to ask questions, knowing how to read material and say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, and knowing how to find out what really is going on. So right now, as I'm sitting here talking to you, scientists, biochemists, virologists, people involved in public health are right now trying to solve a public health crisis, the COVID-19 virus. And all these people are going to be successful at doing this as they come up with these ideas and these plans for us, and coming up with hopefully a vaccine that will be able to mitigate the effects of this virus. All these people are scientists, and all these people are working together to solve this crisis and to help us move forward. And so that's kind of what we're hoping, is we want people to end up being scientists who can understand how to work together and to solve world problems, not just on a small scale, but maybe on a global scale in the future. So right now, guys, wash your hands, do your social distancing, and I'm hoping that when we get through this, maybe in the fall, we'll get to meet you face to face. Okay?